If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
Let me ask you the same question about Ray that I asked you about Ed. And this is the same thing. I do it because somebody else would do it.
Sure.
Did you notice anything about Ray this season? I guess specifically against the pass, because that's what people have pointed out.
Well, the only thing I noticed was after when he had the toe. Ray was adamant with me after he hurt the toe that he was going to play against. I think it was it Cincinnati or San Francisco the first game.
San Francisco was Thanksgiving game. Right?
He was adamant he was going to play in that game. And it's like, wow, Ray. But then Ray tells you that, and you're like, well, maybe it will happen.
Right.
And but then after that game, we just decided, you know what? It's a 2 to 4 week injury. Let's just wait, okay? And it took about 3-4 weeks for him to be able to play. He got a plate, a plastic plate built and everything like that. And then I think it took a couple weeks for him to get back to full speed. So, by the end of the season, he was definitely full speed again. Ray, against the pass, is a very good player. We build a defense around the things that he can do well. How many inside linebackers in this league are covering backs all over the field, or covering tight ends all over the field? They're really not. And you can look at any of these inside linebackers, that's a mismatch for anybody. So Ray, I think, does it as well as most all those guys, even at this stage of his career. But we also try to put Ray in a situation where he's kind of roaming the middle. Right. He doesn't usually have that matchup. When he does, it's because they caught us. Cincinnati caught us when I think Bernard Scott dropped that pass or was underthrown or whatever.
And I guess Agbenaya the one time against Cleveland.
They'll catch us every now and then, and then they have to execute the play. But sometimes Ray will knock the guy's block off too.
Sure,
so
sure.
I think he's a great player. Obviously a Hall of Famer, but even at this stage, he's still absolutely one of the premier players.
We've had some football people here to say that they believe that other teams are going after Ray Lewis on the pass. Third down, just see him as somebody at a place they want to attack. Like you said, Cincinnati attacked him.
Well, they say that, but then all of a sudden they run somebody across the middle and he separates them from the ball and it's a turnover. So yeah, you'd love to get Ray in a one-on-one matchup, but we're a very unpredictable defense. We run everything. We're pressure. We run every coverage behind pressure you can run. We run every zone coverage you can run. We disguise very well. Ray and Ed do a great job of that. You can't find us. So yeah, you think you got Ray in man coverage, and all of a sudden it's some kind of a bracket, and Ray's sitting inside on a crossing route that you ran some kind of pick on, and he knocks the daylights out of your starting slot receiver. We've seen that. We've all seen that a lot too. So there is a chess match to it, Nestor, but I think it's real easy for those guys to say, oh yeah, we'll try to get Ray in a one-on-one. Well, yeah, you might, and there are times that you'll see that. Plenty of other times you'll see Ray make plays where they guess wrong.
Is this the same defense without Chuck Pagano? Will you be running everything the same as you did?
Well, it's never exactly the same. I wouldn't have been the same defense probably even if Chuck had stayed. You try to evolve. Dean's added a lot to the defense in the last couple of years, as have all of our other assistants. Don Martindale adds something just like Terrell Austin did last year. But Dean will put his stamp on it as well. What it will be the same is it'll be aggressive. And people, this is something I think is, I'd like to say. They talk about we weren't aggressive, when Greg was here and all that. Our blitz percentages were up for the most part, but and I think Chuck brought a great personality to it as well. But our players loved Greg as well. The thing we added was corner play. Our corners played. We added some guys, and they grew up. And Darius came off the ACL. Our corners played man-to-man press coverage a lot better last year, which allowed us to play all the man pressures. We were a little more of a zone pressure team. It took us out of the man pressures a little bit. That 2 years ago, and I think that's really was more of a reflection of personnel than it was anything else 2 years ago. But Chuck did a great job, and I really think Dean will do a great job of carrying on the tradition.
Corners were almost, I would say, a surprise to some degree last year because you didn't know what you had.
Right. They did a great job. Yeah, we've got some good young talent. Well, Cary Williams, that was something you really couldn't predict. We've been working with Cary for a couple of years, and
he might be the best story in the whole franchise.
He might be.
He's such a likable guy.
Yeah.
He's just so everything about him becomes. It's the underdog story, if you will. Everything about him is small school said, had some trouble personally and just said, I'm just going to keep fighting. I'm going to be hell-bent to say, I know I can do this.
It's got to be inspirational for kids out there and for everybody, kids in tough situations. See what he's done. He's got a great heart. He's a man of faith. He's a good person, and he's had his own things he's had to deal with and he's had to grow through. He's done a great job.
John Harbaugh joins us here on WNST live from Indianapolis. You know what? I feel like I danced around it, and I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to...
Don't dance.
Right.
You don't strike me as being...
I know, right? You and I have had a couple of times where you said, boy, you didn't dance on that one. With Ray, does it get to a point where you ever have to have, and I know you've been asked this before, but do you get to the point where you have to talk about third down and who's still a 3-down linebacker?
Well, you know, it could because it could if Ray wants to play till he's 50 or something.
Which he might.
He might.
You know, and we may, you know, at some point in time as a coach, if you look at it as a coach, you say, you know what, he's not the best guy. Any player is not the best guy on the field. To be on the field, give us the best chance to win. You're going to have to take that player off the field. I mean, that's been done here before. It's done all the time. With Ray Lewis, I really highly doubt we'll get to that point because I think Ray's the kind of guy that watches the tape. He knows how he's playing. You know, and he knows if he's the best guy on the field or not. And in all honesty, he still is the best guy. You know, he's the best guy for what we do defensively. He's the best guy, you know, that we have on our team to play those situations. But when the time comes, you know, my guess is he'll come to me and say, hey, okay, we need to tweak this package and we need to scale it back a little bit. Or he'll just retire. You know, that day is definitely coming, you know, but I'm not in any hurry to get there.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.